think so.
About to begin.
Can you take me higher?
Show is about to begin. Show has begun.
Welcome to our friends, everyone.
Welcome to the show. Oh, this is gonna be so annoying.
Welcome to the show, little clingy clingy. I like that actually. I think it's we don't have one of those cool soundbite boards yet. We're still working on getting one of those.
They just added something like that to Discord. I will call my boyfriend on Discord when I know he's playing games, and I'll just do the
sound drops.
I'll just do that.
It's like, I'm not playing video games. Stop the cap.
I love that.
That's what we do. If we just had a stop the cap button, I'm hitting that all day long.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That would just play in my head 24/7. If we get that button, that is just going to be an ongoing loop in my brain forever. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Probably add in later.
Moses, I'm a little upset with you.
Why?
Because you got a mullet.
I had a mullet.
Okay, but you got it like real fresh. Real freshened up, and we're supposed to be on this journey together.
Are we?
I thought.
Your hair flows. I do not have a flow like you, man.
Yeah.
If I let too much of the sides go, I look cray.
You have to style it.
That takes
Did you work at the salon?
a different
Brittany?
amount of time.
No.
Okay. What was I going to say?
Have you done any hairstyling in your time?
No. Actually, I had to get my roommate to put my hair up so that it didn't look crazy.
Oh.
I'm not a hair girl. I love getting my hair done.
Yeah.
But doing it myself is not great. There was a time that my dad wanted a haircut, and he just like buzzes it. But I was like 11 maybe, and he hands me the clippers and he's like, "You're gonna learn how to do this for me so that I don't have to look at the back of my head." And I was like, "All right." But I was also 11 and I was a little stupid, and I
11?
like shaved
The
a
trust.
patch. I shaved a patch like up the back of his head.
The
Did you cut it
trust.
again?
No.
No, that was it.
Yeah.
I think there was a time in my life where I thought I was gonna be that kind of guy, where I was just
Shaved
like,
it, just
let the kids shave it off.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Well, no, like
I
I
always
remember
had
you
it-
always had it real tight.
Always really tight, yeah. So I was like, just take it off. It'll grow back kind of mentality. And then a little bit after I met my wife, she was like, what would your hair look like if you grew it? I was like, I don't know. It always looks like terrible. And I didn't want it to look terrible because I was single, right? But now I'm in a relationship, so I was like, all right, we could go through that terrible phase together.
That was
That's how it works.
that was with me and Lex. Lex was like, "Oh, I bet you'd have the best hair," and I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, let's see what it looks like."
Right, that's what you need to
Here
get
we
the
are.
push. Yep.
Here we are.
Be
I
feel
I wear
secure.
a hat every single day because it is just I don't know what to do with my hair either. I have
Yeah.
no idea
Dude, it is
how
flowing.
it's so long.
It looks
It's
beautiful.
so long. Like it
look
looks
like-
good with a hat on, but it's like I'll have to show you a video where I'm like showing Lex like how long my hair is when she's in Colorado, because she's gone. Like we would spend 2-3 weeks apart, and then we would like see each other again. But like in those 3 weeks, my hair just grows so fast
You
that
look like you're ready for hockey tryouts.
I do. Like wait till I get this mullet. It's gonna be life changing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be mullet. Like an 89 IROC Z, that's going to be the next purchase. It's going to have to be. I think that the minute that I cut my hair, I'm just hopping on Facebook Marketplace. I don't think I'm going to be able to control myself. It's going to be Pit Vipers. That'll be the third purchase, or maybe the second purchase. What do you get first? IROC Z or Pit Vipers?
My question is, when does the mustache start to fall?
The
into
mustache.
picture?
Well, see, my beard grows so fast
Straight
at any time.
mustache.
At any time, I basically, by the time I get the Pit Vipers in, I'm gonna have a stash. Like, well,
straight stash, dude. Like, no, shave everything off, just the stash with
It's-
the mullet.
it's gonna be
a
next
choice.
level. I don't think Binghamton is ready for this.
No,
I don't think
absolutely not.
Binghamton's ready for this.
In this scenario, I'm Binghamton.
Are you not ready for Liam's mullet and IROC Z?
My whole personality, I
handle
feel
it.
like, is gonna change.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a different man.
Get ready for that, everybody. It's gonna be.
It's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be
guys.
brutal.
I'm awful now. Just think, it's gonna be so much worse for everyone around me.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awful.
Yeah. I guess
I'm gonna have
I guess
a
I'm
blast.
Binghamton too. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no one's
For the
ready.
mullet.
No one's ready.
It'll look good though.
It's more than just a haircut.
It is.
It's a lifestyle choice.
It is.
I don't think I really want to go with like, the new age mullet. I think I want to go like Joe Dirt mullet.
Yes.
Real.
Go real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is like the fake mullet kind of thing going on. Like I don't even consider what I have to be a mullet.
No,
half the
you have a
time.
new age mullet.
it's
Like it
like
looks
a-
good.
Yeah.
It's like a frullet, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
they
like a
keep it
fro-
longer
it's a
in
fro
the
hawk.
front still.
Yeah, and then there's times where my hair I've just let it like get long, but still shave down the sides. That's like the main thing behind it, but yeah, it'll get to that like mullet stage, or it'll be like just enough to like man bun it
Mm-hmm.
desperately.
I feel
Man
like
bun it.
the way your hair naturally grows, though, it's like it's permed. Like it would have
Yeah,
been back in the
looks
day.
like-
Like
yeah, it
it's
looks like I have
just
perm.
has that vibe about it,
right,
just
little
naturally.
Jerry curls going on.
Naturally.
I think right now it looks a lot like AC Slater, Mario Lopez from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Did I ever watch that?
Probably you had to have at least seen one episode. I
It's
don't
like-
think.
I don't know.
He definitely had it like long in the back, and it was like the Jerry curls in the middle going on here.
Word.
But right now I've just got like the hat hair going on, so it's a little wild. Wow, look at that.
This is ridiculous.
Oh,
That's like
the bangs.
It looks great. It's like a nice helmet of hair. That's what I think of when I see it. I think that's like ideal. It's like
I think you should
I'm gonna
actually
do the rest of the podcast like this.
straighten that and like leave it that way,
you
and then you have like 2010 emo moment.
Where are you,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I'm like. That's what's going on in my head.
Mom? I hate you.
It's not a
I'm not
phase.
going to my room. Give me my car.
You're killing it, bro.
I got this.
You should do it.
I'm doing a show at the Bundy, guys. This is
I would go.
Wow.
100%.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
can do this.
I think there's something to be said about like comedy in music. Like one of my favorite musicians is literally Cake because he's just so ridiculous.
How so? I like you were. Is this like the band Cake?
Yeah.
Go in the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Like
up?
geek rock. Something about it,
Yeah.
like the lines just always I can't take them for granted.
Okay.
Like the things that he writes make me laugh.
That Fashion Nugget is a dank album.
Mm-hmm.
That whole album is just like Frank Sinatra, The Distance. There's a couple other great tunes on there, just like the classic. I Will Survive. Who would have thought to cover I Will Survive? And it's just like groovy. The guitar riff, the drums are on point. Just a good tune. Have you ever listened to Bloodhound Gang?
Is that who does
No.
Respect?
No, they do Foxtrot, Uniform, Charlie Kilo.
I need to branch out. I'm gonna like watch this
Moses
back
will
and
get
take
you in
notes.
some deep
I'll
cuts.
get you
Moses's
some weird
Moses's
stuff.
playlists are so good, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's a mix. There's not like necessarily like a road, and it's like, oh, this is what we're going to be listening to. It's like a lot of like different types of stuff. The Bloodhound Gang is like straight up goofy music, though. They may have been the same band that did like "You and Me, Baby, We Ain't Nothing But Man."
Oh, really?
Oh, word.
I can't. Don't quote me on it, but like they're in that space.
Yeah.
Of music, like Foxtrot, Uniform,
iconic
Charlie
song.
Kilo
I know.
is just like phonetic lettering for fuck. So the whole song is literally like it's just saying have sex in the most ridiculous ways possible. You know, it's just all innuendos. And
Yeah.
even in the song, he says that. You know what I mean? Like it's just like really goofy. And the end of the music video is Bam Margera. The whole music video, he's
course.
driving around this car that's shaped like a banana, and like, and then he stops the car, he slams the brakes because he's like in front of this tunnel, and he's just like, oh my goodness, I get to drive this banana car through the tunnel.
Oh
and
my
that's
God.
Like, that's the expression on his face, like, oh, finally.
What an era.
And then
What an
drives
era.
through
The
it.
early 2000s.
That was that era, yeah. It
Yeah.
was like the late 90s.
I figured
early
if Bam
2000s.
Margera was in it, I mean, that was his prime.
Yeah.
That was
was
his
it
prime.
Margera?
No, not anymore. He
recently.
is not looking so hot. Joey Crisatello is really upset.
I'm always hopeful. I stay up to
Always.
date with BAM news.
Always.
So I'm always like, oh, great, he's on Steve-O's podcast. Like, he's doing it. And then it's like...
The next week.
Yeah.
The next week. I get so excited. I just wonder if too much damage has been done to, like, his brain, his psyche. Like, because it's not just alcohol. Like, he's dealing with drug addiction bad. Like, meth bad.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, that stuff cooks your brain, man. Like, I feel like you can only take so much of that before, like, the wiring is just not there. I don't know. I'm no doctor, but I'm always hopeful, though, like you said.
Yeah.
I really hope that he can pull through at some point.
You ever get in a jackass at all? Bam Margera? No.
Nope.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
All right. Well,
What do you
saying?
get?
I feel like I just like stunt the conversation because I don't know a ton of people, I guess.
All right, well, let's get into something you do know. What is the deal with this Taylor Swift stuff?
Yeah.
Because
talk to us.
now
you
I'm
need to
going
be
to do
way
the
more
same.
specific.
like what makes a Swiftie?
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody really wants to know.
Okay. I gotta think about that. I'm gonna say a Swiftie is someone who is completely unashamed of their adoration of Taylor Swift music.
Why would you be ashamed?
Because, well, there's like a long history, especially with her career, of people being really, really hateful.
Is Taylor Swift controversial?
A little bit. Not anymore, really. Like, now she's like
Well, what
the like most popular, like, you know,
ever?
everyone is going to Eras Tour. Everyone is dying to go to Eras Tour.
I was in Colorado, and there was Taylor Swift was doing 2 shows back to back, and the Yankees were in town. So when I went to Denver, you couldn't move in the airport.
Wait.
That entire place was jam packed, and she
Like-
sold that place out 70,000 seats 2 nights in a row. That's
Are you
100
talking about this tour?
Yeah.
Like this year? I was there.
in Denver.
Yeah.
Go home! I was trying to travel.
That's like, what a
Dude,
trip.
I wanted to go home.
I wanted to see my girlfriend, and I have 6-hour layovers and shit.
Oh, yeah.
This is ridiculous. I got to go to
Yeah.
work.
The only reason I went to Denver was because I thought me and several other friends.
How are you not on the same plane as me? Like, I don't
I
wanna see
might
you.
have been. Oh, no. What it is I got a really cheap flight out of Allentown.
Oh.
And it was probably the worst experience of my life. Don't fly with Allegiant. If
What
you
happened?
Don't
want
fly
your
with Frontier. Just don't
bags.
fly. Just don't fly.
Yeah, don't fly. I don't even
Don't.
like. I just dropped my brother off at the airport last week. Don't even like doing that.
Horrible. I wanted to drive. I wanted to road trip it, but it was a group
That's
of
a
us,
road trip,
right?
yeah.
And like, if we were gonna like get the girlies on the East Coast to road trip, we were still gonna have to meet in the middle, and it was gonna be like extra days that we had to take off. And I was
Yeah.
like, can't do it if I'm not by myself.
Right.
But yeah, I was there. I was probably running laps around you while you were in the airport because I was trying to find my freaking bag.
So, was this your first Taylor Swift concert?
No,
All right.
it was my third.
It's your third.
Yeah.
Okay. When were the other 2? Were they like years ago, or have you seen multiple this tour?
They were years ago.
All right. What's the energy like with this tour? Like, what was
Well-
it like when you get into the arena?
It's stressful. Okay, so to preface this,
Sounds great.
Does it seem
You
like
should go.
Swift-
You should go 3 more times.
Because it seems like Swifties are like full of stress and anxiety. Like it doesn't seem like a good scenario for everybody to get together there.
so
I mean, I am too. I'm like,
we had seats in 2 sections because you can't buy 8 seats in one section. There were 8 of us that we went together. So I was with the 2 other girlies in the slightly closer to the stage section. And one person that I was sitting with had a panic attack upon arrival. And I
people
was
probably fainting.
and I really wanted to see like Muna and like enjoy their performance because I knew a lot of people were still coming in and they didn't care, and I was like, I love the band Muna.
Okay. This
So-
is the opener.
So I like let myself enjoy that, and then I was like, okay, this is actually horrible. I'm claustrophobic.
Where are you? Are you like in general admission on the floor? Are you on a seat?
Not on the floor. Could not afford the floor.
Yeah.
The
Could
math
barely afford
equation.
my seat.
The math
as
equation
is.
to this is
It's
bananas.
crazy.
I bet
How
people
much
were passing
Xanax do
out.
you think was in that stadium? I bet you would have been so easy.
I bet people were fainting in that pit. I mean, just like over like having claustrophobia.
I think
and then
there's
just seeing
not a
Swiftie.
pit because that's dangerous.
Yeah,
Like,
I can imagine.
people would be fighting to like sneak into it, and like that's too much. But the floor seats are crazy. I cannot imagine being down there. So when my friends were like, we want to sit, we sat in the lower bowl.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the best option for me because I'm like close and I can see her. You know, like she's there. She's not a little dot that's far away.
Like,
but
you
like,
think-
But still on a
You
pitch,
think
so
Limp
you can
Bizkit?
Yeah.
get
You
a
think
good
Limp
look.
Bizkit
Right.
at Woodstock '99 is bad? I can imagine Taylor Swift pit vibes are probably intense,
It would be-
dude.
oh my
And it's aggressive down there.
also, my seat neighbor was like probably 15, and I think it was her first concert because she screamed the whole time, nonstop. So
She's got like maybe 2 more concerts like that till
I
she has
was
no voice and she's like, oh
literally-
yeah, maybe I did not do that.
Yeah, I was at Eras Tour Screamo version. Like it was not. I couldn't hear the music
So
most
she's
of
just
the
like
time.
jumping up and down, like,
Yes,
whoa.
there was one of the Taylor Swift concerts caused an earthquake
Wait.
because everyone was stomping so hard.
Okay. All right. I gotta check your science on this one.
Maybe it didn't cause
So
it.
you
I don't know.
moved
It
the
was
Earth's
like
crust?
it was
Come again?
how do they measure it? I don't know. They like measured
You gotta
the
have, like, a
shaking
seismograph.
Maybe the shaking
Yeah.
of the
Randy
stadium.
Marsh.
and it was of the ground.
Well, the
And it was
All right.
sorry.
all right.
And it was
There was
like
an earthquake.
There was an earthquake.
There was an
Um,
earthquake.
Yeah.
The Swifties.
That wasn't the one that I was at,
band
but I read
together.
about it. So, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, what else do you want to know?
So what was the first? So what was your first experience like? Were you the 15-year-old nonstop screaming?
No, because like I said, I've been terrified of just being existing like since I was born, right? So I've always been very shy, like painfully shy.
We need Chris the therapist here.
Yeah, no.
We need Chris the
I
therapist
think
Too
here.
aggressive.
I would rather not.
No, we're getting deep.
I don't
So
want people to look
why
at
do
me
you
and
feel
think
that way?
they know things about me.
Yeah, why is that? Because you're a badass performer.
I have a panic disorder.
Okay.
I have a panic disorder, so let's get into music, the most vulnerable.
Yeah,
thing that I
hate
possibly
I
can
hate
do.
that so much for myself, but I think I need it. Is the thing.
I get that.
Do you have an on-stage persona? You know, do you become
shift
a-
gears?
Yeah, it's
some-
Winnie. That's not my name.
All right, that's true. That's true. I
I'm a
just
freaking liar.
recently realized that I just recently
don't tell
learned that
people.
your real name is
Because
yeah.
I'm scared of vulnerability.
yeah.
So yeah,
I like that.
if someone finds me and they're like, "Oh, that's you," I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah," but
Yeah.
it's not.
Right.
Let's not.
Dope.
Yeah. So I have panic attacks. And I never struggled extremely with those, but I always had the anxiety. I always had the fear. Sometimes I just get this overwhelming like thought in my brain that's like, if you walk into that building wherever I was going, grocery store, especially the grocery store, freaking hate the grocery store.
I don't like grocery
too.
stores either.
I gotta hit it like 6 in the morning.
So like clearly that's the worst one. But like I can't even think of a good example. Like going to the doctor, so scary because I have to walk up to a window and speak to somebody. Like I get this overwhelming thing in my head that's like, if you do this, you could die. And I'm like, that might be a little dramatic, but I still feel that way. So it's taken a lot to get to a point where I can like showing up here was a lot
Oh yeah.
for me. Like 3 years ago, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, the cool thing about this is it's like you only have to deal with 2 people, really. So I think at a certain point, it's like I of course felt like that. As soon as you like put a camera on it, it feels like very weird, and you're like, am I being myself or something like that? And then that starts to kind of go away the more you do it, and then I'm just focusing on Moses and talking to Moses at this point.
Yeah.
This is just a conversation. I forget that that's even there. I think that takes definitely time. What other things have you encountered with that? I guess just the social anxiety that has really been difficult for you to get past?
It causes so many, like, ridiculous problems.
Mm.
I think the awareness that a lot of my thoughts are, like, realistically unreasonable, it helps,
but
it
that
also
should be a
hurts.
help. I don't know. Like, I definitely have unreasonable thoughts all the time. It's something that, like, Lex and I have worked on. Like, there's definitely certain things where I'm just like, am I being unreasonable? Am I being crazy right now?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I pick that out? And I think just even recognizing that you have a tendency to do that is so, it's like, that's a huge, like, I guess bump up in your life. If you can recognize that and then just be like, okay, let's take a step back and assess, what did I just say? Is that ridiculous? What am I thinking? And do I need to pull back? And I think having Lex too, to even be able to bounce that off of her head before I'm like being super crazy is nice as well. But I don't know. I think that's a huge step. You should look at that as a positive.
Yeah. I think it just, the thought of that itself, like, stresses me out a little bit because I'm like, why? But we don't need to go there.
If we had Chris. We had Chris,
Maybe.
we could go there. You wouldn't even know you're going there.
Yeah.
Chris would just ask the right question.
I
And
mean,
you'd start crying.
And like, for me, because
I don't want to do that.
No.
I mean, I can relate to that, because, you know, not so much in this space. I mean, this space is already like a whole another story. But I mean, just like calling a pizza place to make an order.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that, but I will do it because and 3-4 years ago, not so much. Or to go up to like go up and ask a question to like a receptionist, not my jam. I don't want to like talk to the hostess. I don't want to like bug the waiter. I don't want to bug anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But then over time, I think this happens to everybody. Is like you just slowly stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, that person over there is making a paycheck to be answering questions. So whether my question sounds dumb to them or they've never heard the question before, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna ask.
100%.
You know, and
if I would have heard that at 16 years old, I'm like, oh, look at this. Listen to this old man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this guy, you're freaking crazy, dude. Think I'm gonna ask them if I can have that magazine. It's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like same
Yeah.
thing. Like there's a poster around somewhere of Caviar and Grits. We had a show at Originals, and I took it. And they had another one, and I asked them for the other one too. Michaela was like, "You're gonna take those posters?" I was like, "Yeah, our face is on them for a show that's tonight. That's
Right.
it. There's not gonna
Yeah.
be another March 28th of 2023." I'm like, "This is ours," you know. And
Yeah.
and I'll go up there and I'll ask the person too, like, "Yo, can I have this?" Don't give a fuck. So there's sometimes, and that's obviously easier said than done. It's like, how do you find that comfortability? Because the question I have for you is because you can sit here and say, I'm Winnie and that's who I am, but like there's more to it than that. Like you're working, if truly having the feelings that you have, you are working to get up on stage and perform, and not only perform. I mean, like you don't just get up there and sing. I mean, you're engaging. You're putting on more of a show. So I guess talk a little bit about that, because I wonder if there's people watching and listening that feel the way that you feel and have those same, I hate to call them problems or issues. But
well, it kind of can be.
That's what they are. And I mean,
You guys had me at
what
Irish
you deal
Kevin's, and my boyfriend came with me, and I was telling him the whole car ride there, I was like, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna throw up. I literally, and then I came inside and I like got a drink. I had literally a sip of it because I was like, I'm gonna throw up. And then, but as soon as I start, it's completely different. I'm not scared. Like I sang a song at one of the open mics, like maybe a couple months before that.
Yeah. It was like pretty early. We saw you, and I was like, "Whoa, your voice is amazing."
I was like not planning on going out. Someone convinced me to come like just check it out, and I was like, okay. And I went to do a song, and for like the first half of the song, I was violently shaking. And I was trying to hide it so hard, but like it was really a lot. And so when I have time to like prepare myself, I'm not vibrating, at least, you know? But I'm still definitely like really freaked out until I start going, because when I actually start singing, I know there's like actual science that's like gives you like endorphins and shit. But I think it also just helps me kind of take myself out of the I'm doing it now. Okay. It takes myself out of like the social aspect of it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can be this. I can be Winnie, and I can do music, and I can think about the stories that are parts of these songs, and I can connect that way. And it makes me feel better.
To me, what that says is that I think that is a prime example of a well, I guess, rehearsed individual. So, like, you've rehearsed all these. Yeah. You just forget that you've rehearsed them. Yeah. Like, you know you're prepared. Yeah. You are prepared, but it's just, I think, convincing yourself that you're prepared. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you get up and you start performing, you go, oh, yeah, this is muscle memory at this point. Yeah. Do you feel like that?
That definitely, it definitely is the case. I don't have to think about, like, how I'm singing, you know? But I think the fear is just that eyes are on me. So I have to kind of, like, back up me from, like, the performer. Mm-hmm. And that sounds bizarre, but it's a little mental trick that helps me, like, remain confident when I'm being watched, I guess.
You know who says that is Joe Bonamassa. He talks about that a lot. Is he puts on the glasses, puts on the suit, and he turns into a different human being. And then the minute he gets off stage, suit jacket comes off, sweatshirt goes on, glasses, or puts a baseball hat on, and he's like, they say he literally just walks through the crowd that he just played through, and it's you can't tell that it was him. Like, it's just a different vibe. Like, he carries himself so differently, and it's just this persona that he's put on over the years. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, I'm. Like you said, I'm sure there's plenty of individuals who are just like you, who want and probably do this similar things that you do. Think that performing is a very important part. That's almost a therapeutic thing for them. Yeah, I think that's a really awesome thing to do if you have a problem with social anxiety. Get out and perform. Right. It's like that just cuts down all the barriers. It's got to be a little bit freeing.
Well, it's and I think I touched a little bit about this when we were talking with Amber, just about. As a singer-songwriter, you're putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's literally it's such a vulnerable position to be in, and a lot of times we look at vulnerability as just like, you know, this bad thing or that we're in this situation, but really, in a way, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. You know, because a part of it is like not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? You're gonna go out there, you're gonna put yourself out there, and it takes confidence to do that, and it's really like. I don't really give a fuck what anybody thinks. I'm going to perform my heart out because I believe in these songs. I put the work in to create these songs. These are my stories. And when you're genuine like that and you're really true to yourself, there's such an amazing response. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like this natural response. I mean, even getting up and talking at open mic when we have to like make an announcement or something like that took a while to just make that normal and be comfortable to talk on the microphone, especially my position in a band. I'm not in the front. I'm in the back always. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's, you know, taking on the reins and being a leader in that position could sometimes be like, oh my God. But then typically it's received well, you know, and it's like it gives you that drive to keep doing it.
It is funny to think back. It's just like the first time that you got up in front of the mic, it's like, and same thing with me. We were in the same exact place. Like, I just play guitar. Like, that's the only thing. I'm never talking into a mic ever. So it's an awkward thing for sure. Like, I don't really know what to say. How do I present this? How do I kick this off? Yeah. How do I? It's tricky. How do I bring someone up? God, I don't want to fuck their name up. There's a lot of that. Now let me ask you this. The way that you described it was that you have to separate the performer and yourself. Mm-hmm. At any point, do you feel like sometimes, in just being as genuine as you possibly can, like yourself wrote those songs. Those songs are coming from your heart. Mm-hmm. Like, that's you. So it's almost like, and I guess maybe it'll just come with time. Do you think at any point yourself and that performer are just going to be one being?
You know, it's interesting. I'm working on music about this.
Is that a goal, I guess, is a proper question?
I don't know. I think maybe it's kind of just happening naturally.
Okay. So, like, when you were 22, the separation was probably a lot further away, and do you feel as though it's coming closer?
Yeah.
Cool.
When I, like, decided I wanted to, like, use a stage name, it was because I was like, I don't want people to know me. Like, that was so freaking scary. And I started with a different stage name that was just, like, my normal name with, like, a stupid last name. And
okay, but we kind of have to know that.
I didn't like it.
What was it?
Jenna Stella.
Jenna Stella.
I did not like it. And then I heard a song that I really liked, and the artist was Lennon Stella, and I was like, all right, well, I gotta do something else.
Change that up.
Yeah.
I like Winnie. I think Winnie has I think that's a good, memorable name.
It was nice and, like, simple, but it still feels like a little bit, like, I like the letter W. It's a little bit edgy and a little bit feminine, and that's my, like, desired vibe.
Well, and also it's like when you're choosing a name, when you're choosing a brand, because that is kind of what it is. It feels weird to say that, but it is a brand at the end of the day. Winnie is very, very easy. It's very memorable, but it's also not a word that you use every single day. Yeah. So it's memorable in a different way to, like, when you hear the word Winnie, there's only a handful of things that you're going to associate that with.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. That's probably one of them that is so buried deep in the back of my head. Like, that's when I hear Winnie, I just think of you now. Because that's, like, the only other time that I really hear that word.
I feel so iconic for that.
No, you should. It's killer.
That's the only time it ever comes up in that name ever comes up in my life. Like, no, I'm not talking about Winnie the Pooh with the boys. Like,
right.
Like, that's it.
One of my friends did say he would I don't know if you know Sad Matt.
Oh yeah. God, we've been trying to get Sad, but he moved away,
I
so
love
it's just
him
trying to line
much.
it up. He's awesome.
He's literally one of my best friends.
Oh, nice.
He told me, he was like, he's jealous that I'm doing this, and he's not.
Well, now we're kind of set up for you now, Matt.
Right?
Like we.
Matt,
I think
get in here.
Well, one of the problems was at the time that we were gonna have Matt. I mean, this is months and months and months and months and months ago. We just had that couch and 2 microphones, so really
we weren't
it
set
was
up for like a band.
well,
That's
and
uncomfortable.
then a chair. So, well, it not only that we just simply didn't have the equipment to have like 7 people here, but I feel like if we grabbed a couple of like this style microphone here, then we could at least get a couple people right here.
Honestly, these mics are nice and they're a little bit better for noise isolation. But like you could hand somebody an SM57 and it works the same.
It's kind of what I did last
Here's
time.
my
It works the
thought.
same way.
You get Matt and you get me at the same time.
Okay.
That is
twofer.
like
That would be fun.
different.
And we want to do more of that, where it's like a couple people on. Like that's why we would have had Chris on, no problem.
We tried having Chris on. Well,
if anybody else
I was really pushing
out,
for it.
Yeah, if anybody else was hanging out at that time, it's like, yo, hop on the podcast. You're here. Another friend of ours was there at the time, and we weren't sure if he was going to sit on or not. Jeff.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. So yeah, we're totally open for that kind of collaboration and just like keep running it. As much as possible. But yeah, let's diving back to you. I know you just recently released your EP. That wasn't your debut EP though.
No.
You've had some music out already. When did you start releasing music out?
3 albums. I've done one like every year.
All right, yeah. So first year 2021 was the first album.
How many songs are on each album?
It was 2020. That one was pretty short. That was called Hard Feelings. I think it was 7 songs. And then the next year was Circuition, which actually came out like right as I was getting diagnosed with a panic disorder. And you can kind of tell in some of the closer to me songs. Like the last one, I literally finished writing it, and then I had the worst panic attack of my entire life.
Wow.
So that one it has a place in my heart just because it, like, some of the songs are more distant and they were more for fun and just to practice like collaborating with my friends, and then some of them are really like I feel them really hard. And then the year after that, last year, we put out Decennium, which is my favorite. It's not as electric as everything else. I guess that's the way to describe it. But the storyline of that is the most important to me. I don't think I'm ever gonna write anything more important to me than the second song on that album, which is what I'm going to sing for you guys.
Okay.
If we do that. Yeah. But with that, actually, the separation is really helpful to me because it's emotional and it's like lengthy. Like, I was talking. I wrote it in half an hour. I was like, this is everything I feel right now, and it's like 5 minutes long.
That's good.
But it's my favorite. And then I started this other project. I went to Brittany. She does most of my production.
She's good.
And I was like, I want to do some like hefty pop. I want to hear some weird noises and just have so much
Brittany
fun.
got on the mic. Some weird noises. Anyway, sorry.
No.
I gotta clip that up and send it to her.
She's gonna hate that.
Oh, I fuck with her so bad. It's so much fun. She gets so mad. Anyway, sorry.
She's fun. I love her. So we started doing all this stuff, and it's fun, I think, for her to work with me, because I'm like, what if you made something that sounded like, you know, and I give her like a really abstract idea. I think for one song I was like, okay, I want to feel like tornadoes. And she was like, right, got it. Lays down a beat.
She just knows.
Like, she just reads me so well. And I worked with a couple other people
because she's a Cancer.
She, you know what? She gets it because I'm a Capricorn and she's a Cancer. She like sees inside my soul.
Of course. Of course.
We're getting really deep now.
I mean it. I'm so dead serious.
I don't know anything about astrology, but I pretend like I do around Brittany.
I love Cancers. She is a Cancer, and she's, I think, one of my closest friends. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't think I'm her best friend.
Oh.
I don't feel like I can say that in public. And then my boyfriend is also a Cancer.
Okay.
And also one of my longest friends that I've known since we were like 12. She's also a Cancer, and I feel like that's just kind of the natural gravitation. Okay, well, don't read too much into me.
I can't read, so it's like
perfect.
There you go.
I bumped it.
So Brittany's doing most of your, because that was my next question. So is she doing a lot of the mixing, mastering?
Yeah.
All of the records?
When this started, yeah.
Sick.
When this started, actually, first she just wanted to use me as like practice, because I was like doing little songs on my ukulele and like writing, but not really taking it seriously. So we recorded a little EP called Bonfire, and that's still out under Jenna Stella.
Okay.
And she recorded that and like mixed it, and then every time I do a new project, she does most of the work.
Sick.
She's the talented one. I
That's
just write
awesome.
words.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I mean, you know, and just to know that, you know, there's somebody else in that space, in that world that's like, you know, maybe not doing it on like this high level unless she is, but it's cool that she's mixing your stuff. And
I think she enjoys the like experimentation of it,
right?
Because I'm always asking for something that's like not something that she's used to doing. I like to change it up. I get bored hearing the same sounds, you know. But she's so skilled. Like, I know a little bit, but not enough to like make something good.
I know enough to mess up the Logic file.
Right.
Like, I know just enough to get myself into trouble.
Off by 1 BPM.
Yeah, it's just not quite right.
It's a little like, oh,
So
shoot.
I'm like, hey, Chris, can you help me?
Chris has got all the good plugins.
Chris, can you help me figure out why I have 500 gigabytes of storage used up? That's also the question to Joey. Joey has to teach me how to do things all the time. It's bad. It just goes right out.
It's good. It's such a helpful tool. It's you know, I've been dipping my toe into it here and there, not as much as I, you know, should be, but just being
You
around.
act like you had a
other people
baby
that
or
listen.
something. Like, what are you doing?
Got
I'm not
work to
doing
do,
anything.
man. There's work to do. But it's a lot of fun. But so now I like the electronic aspect of it, especially this most recent album. I mean, like,
Yeah, we went hard.
I dig that sound.
And some of that, I worked with 2 other people production-wise.
Yeah.
Brenna Swinger did the first song, Attention. And then the All Your Friends Are Dead remix features Credo, who is also Zach, who is also the person who produced Helium Heart.
Okay.
So that's
It's a whole other thing.
But they're both great.
Are you familiar with Magzilla?
No.
She's dope from Ithaca.
Word.
And it's like super like that vibe, that electronica.
I like any name that has Zilla in it.
Yo, Magzilla, yeah, like that's
Zilla.
You want to talk about a cool stage name, yeah, Magzilla. And yeah, she's like, I could see you two sharing a bill.
My
for
sure.
name's
That
gonna
would
be
be awesome.
Wagzilla.
Yeah, Wagzilla.
Wagzilla.
Yeah.
I'll have to look her up.
Yeah,
You have to
check
like
her out.
write me literally a list of just like, be like, you would like these people.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always, like, somebody just keeps popping up, or I end up somewhere, the right place at the right time, and see an interesting show, or, I mean, that show was, like, a benefit that they'll do a lot, which was at the Deep Dive in Ithaca, and there was just several different bands on the bill, so you get to, like, meet a couple people, or just, sometimes it's not even that, like, getting to meet anybody, but just getting to hear something new, and, like, find them on Instagram. That's just like a good sound, and it, you know, super familiar. And you've played in Ithaca recently, right?
Yeah. It was a little weird.
How did that go?
It was college move-in weekend, and I didn't know about that at
Yeah.
the time of booking.
Okay.
So
get ya.
crowd was a little bit like lacking.
Yeah.
Just because I think everyone was moving in and sleeping. But, you know, it picked up towards the end. I just felt bad because I had people ahead of me. Like, I brought my friends with me, and then not that many people saw them play. So I felt like shit about that.
I mean, you got the show, though. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the important
It was sad,
part.
Matt. I actually drove to Afton because he had played at Echo Fest that morning. So I went to work here in Endicott, and then I drove to Afton, picked him up, got some food, drove to Ithaca. We played that show, and then drove into Binghamton, dropped him off where he was staying, and then I went home.
Grind.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I got the name right.
Oh, yeah.
I got talking to, and you're gonna have to apologize if you see this. Please don't hate me. It's Raven, I believe. She's in the punk scene.
Yeah.
But she works at Guitar Center, so I got talking with her for quite a while, and she's so into, I guess, the music scene in general. And I really just wanted to make sure I mentioned her Binghamton, New York Now playlist on
shit.
Spotify. Dude, this is
Gotta get me
just
on there.
it's just yeah. I'm
Let me
telling
check
you.
this out.
Look at the amount of artists that she has said. These are all people from the area.
That's awesome.
And I was telling her about the podcast and how we're just trying to bring people together and stuff like that. And she's just like, here, check out this list. These are all people from Binghamton. I'm like, so essentially gave me literally all the leads that we would ever need for people to get into contact with, to potentially have on the podcast, to come up, do music, help them promote, help us promote what we're doing.
Got the Tasianic Quintet here.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyways, we had, I mean, I was literally just about to leave, and I must have had a conversation with her for like 45 minutes. Like we immediately just started talking about what the community needs as a whole. We had our own little podcast essentially at Guitar Center. We just kept
the little setup ready to go.
I know.
That's how you know we're like grown-ups.
Yeah.
Because you go to say goodbye to someone, and then you have a conversation for an hour.
Yes.
That's something I made fun of my parents for.
I was just gonna say.
For so long. Oh my god, I'm literally on there.
Literally on it.
Whoa!
I wasn't playing
cool.
around. This is an
fire.
extensive
That's
playlist. She did such a good job on just curating
was
all these artists.
research.
I don't even know how she did this. Like it's so many people just from this area. So yeah, she absolutely killed it. So thank you again. And if you guys are on Spotify, just give that a follow and just listen to it.
What's that called again?
Binghamton.
It's called Binghamton, New York Now. And I just got thinking, I'm like, for venue owners alone,
Yeah.
just to have something as they're driving to work or something like that, just click the button and press play. If you hear something that you like, you go, oh, here's this person. This is what they sound like.
Right.
I should book these people. And you know that they're going to be local. Like, it's such a great tool. Such a great tool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, oh my God, there's so many. So many. Look at.
Wow.
I love that. I love that there's like Simran Stew and Edge and Baby Lou are on like the
Yeah.
same
I love
playlist,
Edge and
yeah.
Baby Lou.
Right.
They're the best.
And like, have you know Simran Stew?
No.
It's just like bluegrass.
There's
so it's like awesome that there's
and what we got talking about
mix.
was a lot of putting your own taste in art aside and knowing that no matter what, art is art and you want to help artists do what they have to do. So it's like we've definitely had people up here where it's like it's not my style of music at all, but most of everything is not my style. I play blues. I'm an
Mostly
old
anything-
man.
Yeah, so
Anything-
mine is not your style.
anything
Well,
pop.
no, but I enjoy it and
Any
I
pop
can
hits,
appreciate
which
it.
we
Yeah,
usually do
like,
are not really your jam.
but what we got talking about was just it's like we both stood the importance of helping out the art community as a whole. Like if you're being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, it is those two things are enough to make I think a lot of people in this community want to support you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there is really enough competition sort of feeling, if you will. Like I don't think that I've ever felt like real competition with any other band, any other artist. Like it's never felt like that to me. It's always felt like even people playing the same genre as me. Like when I was playing with Junkyard Heights, there's a couple bands that were similar genres. Like it always was supportive from everyone.
Yeah.
You really just don't feel that kind of cutthroat feeling that you'd get in a
Yeah.
big city or something.
And if
Don't
it
want
is, it's all like behind the scenes. You know,
Yeah.
nobody's out here going like, genuinely saying anything about any other bands or any other musicians. It's really everybody's like, well, not like, oh, well, why did so and so get this opportunity? It's like it's more like, oh, that's great, so and so got that opportunity. How can I get it too? You know, I mean, that's really all it is. It's just like that drive, which is like what we want to see. We want people to go, oh, you took it to the next level. We want to do the same thing too, you know. And like we have bands that'll reach out, like, oh, how do you get a gig there? How do you get a gig there? It's just like, just reach out to the owners. There's no secret to it.
That's
just reach out to the owners.
quite literally how I got onto Speedy Fest with a band who had played one.
That's amazing.
I played one show. One show with Junkyard Heights, and it was like a little teeny tiny 45-minute set. And I made a phone call to Dave Pisagno, said, "Hey, these guys are, heavy hitters. The people that I was with, like they are well-established musicians within the community. I have no pedigree at this point, zero. And I'm just like, I wouldn't be sticking my neck out if I didn't think that we could put on a great show and we could compliment the people who are there. And he gave us a shot. It's like, what's the worst that could have happened? It wasn't great." What bugs me, and I mentioned this to Raven as well, is that is a humongous stage in your opening or you're not allowed to use the word opening. Or can you? It's a different show. It's weird.
Okay.
It's weird, the
Yeah,
politics.
because you guys are not even on the ticket, are you?
No.
You're like on the bill.
I can't remember what the
I'm trying to
tickets say.
remember.
I doubt it, though.
Yeah.
But what bothers me is he uses the same people.
Yeah.
He uses the same people. He used us twice, which I'm unbelievably grateful for that. Like that feels really good that we did so good that he wanted us to come back. However, it is a giant stage. You're opening up for a national act. There's more than enough bands in this area that deserve to have that opportunity to get on a big giant stage like that, be able to have photographers come, and it just looks good. It feels good to be able to play with play a show with a professional sound.
Dude, when you
like
get on a
that.
stage and the
it's-
sound is all dialed in, it's
so
crazy.
good.
Like,
I think more bands need that opportunity. I don't think I'm at a point where I could bring that up to Dave, really, but I do feel that inside where I'm just like, there's so many bands that deserve this opportunity. Like Foggy Malone deserves that opportunity.
for sure.
They're so good. They're tight.
Yep.
They're ready to go.
Metronome.
Definitely metronome.
Yeah.
Of course it depends on who the national act is in, the whole show has to make sense.
Yeah.
Like to have, an R&B artist open up for Lou Gramm wouldn't have really worked. Like it has to mesh to a certain degree, but
But there's also with those bands and any other bands, we have to hold them accountable as well, right? They've got to put in that work to be seen, to have the 100%. Right look, to have the stage presence and the stage pop, because sounding good is important, but it's just as important as looking good, as being prepared, having your stuff together,
and having a performance in line too. Like you can look good, you can sound good, and then just stand up there like a couple logs.
Yeah.
And it's not an engaging performance still. There's tons of factors that go into it. It's like you watch Kapani play; they're moving all over the stage. They're freaking. They're 3 people. It looks like there's 90 people on that stage.
Right, but they look sharp. Yeah. You know what I mean? They put a lot of effort and thought into like what they're wearing, what they're doing, how they're moving on stage. It's not just like willy nilly. We're just gonna do this. This is like, you can tell it's a little bit more methodical. It's thought out. That's what I appreciated from your performance, right? Is that there was a show. It wasn't just like, I'm standing here and I'm not playing any instrument. I'm just like with the tracks going on, and like you can literally just, do nothing.
All right.
But it's so important that that's not what's being given, because there is that stigma, for sure, and it's all on the onus of the musicians, right? A lot of times we'll talk about venues and business owners needing to step up, but we'll also talk about musicians where they need to step up. And it's a lot of it is in the show, and like just like, what are you wearing when you go to your show, right? You shouldn't wear the same thing that you wore to like go help somebody move. You know what I mean? Like you wanna like
or if that's your vibe, the whole band has to look like that. You can't have one guy. You can't have one guy looking sharp, looking like he's going to church.
Right.
And then, like you said, you just pick this dude up, pick this bass player up from the gym on the way over here.
Right, because that's where some people have stopped.
Sorry, bass players.
That's where some people have lost their interest in going to see a local band, is that like it's just my dad and his buddies. You know what I mean? Like, where, like, who's got the best New Balance on? You know what I mean? Are you gonna wear which?
Jim's got grass stains on those.
There's like a spectrum of the New Balance shoes. You've got like the really dirty ones, and they get like progressively cleaner. Oh, gonna bust out the shiny ones, like.
I wear New Balance, guys. I just want to put that out there. I'm not. I do like New Balance shoes. They're good.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're cheap.
They're okay every now and again, but a nice, a little bit of that is always good. Or again, if that's the whole shtick and everybody's wearing jorts and New Balance shoes,
cool.
That's wonderful.
That would be sweet. Yeah, that would be a trip to see that. Everybody's got like the polo shirt tucked in. Like, come on.
Oh, I'd love that.
Someone's wearing like a Kiss the Cook apron.
Some some.
Oh
you remember that Corvette button up I had?
Yes.
Or it was just old Corvettes all over the thing. It was the best.
Yeah.
It was the best
so there's
old
those
man
little
shirt
things,
I had.
and but also like for musicians that are sometimes just really good, really great players, and they love to play in front of people. That's the vulnerable part of them, is like getting dressed up like this for a show, and that for them that's like, oh my god, I don't want to look
so
weird,
yeah,
overdressed. You know
I
what
do
I mean?
always worry
I'm
a little
trying
bit.
too
I'm like, am I
hard.
too extra? Is this
extra.
too much?
I think always be extra.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? Like I've heard that before. Like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard. It's like, oh, were you looking like you were trying too hard when you were up until 2:00 in the morning working on this fucking song?
Right.
So what does it matter?
Right.
I mean, this is my favorite band. One of my favorite bands currently right now, and we got to use them as an example.
They are the best, man.
It's like, just lean into it. Just be extra.
Just get a sword.
Yeah.
You know what
a giant cape. Whatever, man.
Like, lean into it. Like,
that is such
like to
a
me,
Britney vibe. That is such an Amarina aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like lean into it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that right there.
What is
what
the
I'm talking
bedazzled
about.
shirt he's got going on?
I
there?
love that.
Sweet.
I
That's
love
like,
glitter.
That's like what knights wear underneath, like the armor. It's like the underneath armor. It's crazy. Yeah, and I love it. Like it's like such a draw. And I was talking about this recently too. I was like, there's this consistency to it where like everybody has a fit. You know, it may be a different color, maybe a different design, but like everybody has like the same type of jacket on. You know, like the way how long it is and how long the sleeves are. The same thing with their pants. The singer's always kind of got like a onesie on. And I like that consistency because when I saw well, that's the only way to rock a onesie.
Every photo, man.
Yeah.
Every photo.
But even like when I was at that pit had some energy. When I saw Greta Van Fleet, the energy down there, like it was a bunch of hyped up young girls there too. And they were kind of talking the same thing, like, oh, I wonder if he's going to be wearing gold, or is he going to, you know, this show he was wearing a black one, and this show was a white one, you know, so there's like that.
Just reminded me of another Swiftie thing.
Let's hear it. Yeah, I want to hear more about Swiftie.
There is something called Swift Ball, Fantasy Swift Ball. So instead of like fantasy football, we're guessing what outfits she's going to wear what night of the show and which songs she's going to sing, and if they're going to be like, if the surprise ones will be acoustic or on piano or with another person.
Can you bet on this?
It's like everyone fills it out and submits it to the girl who like runs it.
It's like this.
There's a bookie involved in
and
this?
No. The person who gets the most accurate gets a prize.
Okay.
So, like, you don't pay anything. You just have to guess.
I think you guys got to step this game up.
I just think of like some 20-year-old girl with a baseball bat breaking breaking kneecaps when people don't pay up.
She was not wearing that. No,
It's really fun.
She was not wearing the big dress.
She was not. No, but like the last Greta Van Fleet tour, like the big thing was a lot of the like hardcore fans, like if they knew they were going to be in the front, you know, like they would wear boas and like cowgirl hats and just throw them on the stage. And
we made costumes for Eras Tour.
And then eventually they throw them on. Greta Van
I
Fleet,
love
they'll
that.
throw on the boas, they'll throw on the hat.
Dude,
like,
we got to reschedule, man.
We're going to go see them. We're going to see them next year.
Ryan, Miranda,
We're gonna
I
see
love
next
you
year.
guys, but
It was gnarly. And we would have gotten right up to the front, dude.
Yeah.
We would, like, seriously, the setup, we would have gotten right up to the front. The time we pulled in there, yeah. But it would be nice to get seats. Go to a show, get seats. Because if Jamie goes again, she wants to sit down.
I'm using the crutches.
love
I don't
sitting.
care. I'm
And
getting
then we
right
could
up
go with
front.
Lex. We can
I'm
hit all-
tall.
We could, all right, Jamie and Lex can be in the
I'm
in the
tall.
seats.
I'm gonna like
and we'll-
30 minutes in. I'm just gonna pass out from exhaustion.
Right. Though that's the thing.
be great.
Bathroom break. There is there is no bathroom break.
Well,
Like when you're in
Taylor
there,
Swift fans,
Yep.
just get the diapers.
that what
That
they
is
thought
a
of
running joke.
No,
it's got to be true.
no.
There's probably someone who's done it,
I
Bam.
mean, I think,
but
there's,
I don't
like,
know them.
Like let me like here's my situation. Greta Van Fleet. So it's general admission show. So it's kind of like first come first serve. That's like the idea. Show doors open at like 6 or 7 o'clock. I think it was 6.
Bro, you got a
And-
friend in a wheelchair.
So we got well.
We're going right up
I
to the
wasn't
front.
there with you. So it's Jamie and I. We get there like around 2:30 in the afternoon, and like we're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like we're right by the door. We're like the first 20 people to get inside. So around 4:30, I go inside to use the bathroom. I come outside, and there's like all of these people. And it turns out all of these people were there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, like 300 of them, and they were all like, here, come back at this time,
Whoa.
and you will be the first to come in. So there's like really not 20 people in front of us, like 320 people in front of us, because all 300 of these people go in like an hour before us, get in and get situated, and they're there. So then it's time for us where the doors are like finally open, and I trying to remember the time. It was probably like 6 maybe, and we get in there, we rush in there, we're on the ground, we get like to the best standing position that we can be in, and then you just stand there. Greta Van like, so then you watch the opener, you see the second opener, and then Greta Van Fleet for like 2 hours. So like I didn't use the bathroom for probably like 7 hours. You know what I mean? Because like there's no getting out.
Yeah.
And if you get out, then
you're not getting
fucked.
back
You're not
in,
going to
yeah.
get back to where you were.
Just gotta show up dehydrated as hell.
Like pretty much.
I don't
like,
drink anymore, so
right,
it's
I
like
hadn't drank a lot. There was even like the people in the front were like giving out water bottles, like security. They were handing out some water bottles. Like we just missed the cutoff. We were just too far back, but it was kind of a good thing. We didn't like want to drink a bunch of water and be super thirsty, and like also the adrenaline. You forget. Yeah. You know, it's like playing a gig. I know I've played 3-hour gigs where just don't use the bathroom just because you don't have to. It's like such a afterthought. But that was the vibe, man, where it was like you're in there, so I can see why people would bring a diaper if they've been in those situations. Yeah. You know, I would just like to think that I would be able to like master my bladder and not get out of there. You know, Swifties, let us know in the comments. Please. Are you wearing diapers to the shows?
Oh my God.
Gosh, just
recommend brands.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to know.
Yeah. We need to know just in case we go. We've got some good concert stories, but I'm not gonna tell them.
One day, I don't know. When we get the Patreon, guys, we got some stories for you.
Yeah,
I'll be here.
Just some absolute degeneracy.
Joe Bonamassa, though, man, got to see Joe Bonamassa twice together, which is pretty epic.
Oh man, both those shows were kind of. Yeah, shit shows for us.
Second one was a little bit more low key. I don't,
Yeah, first one was not. first one was not. It was pretty.
It was aggressive.
Well, yeah, it was very aggressive.
But hey, we were out of town, so
we did the thing.
We had to do the thing, you know.
Did the thing. That was Big Moses back then.
Yeah, I was a big boy.
Second time you weren't though. You had lost a bunch of weight by that time, no?
I was a little bit slimmer. I was still pretty big guy though.
Chunky,
looking like teddy bear,
looking thick.
Yeah, Joe Bonamassa, I mean, those were two sick shows. The energy, because Liam put me on a Joe Bonamassa. I didn't really know much.
And my grandma put me on.
Yeah.
To Joe Bonamassa.
Nice.
Like, I didn't really know much about Joe Bonamassa. I was like, sure, I'll go see. I think I had to Google him. I was like, sure, yeah, let's go. I'll go to a free show. And, yeah. Epic, like stage performance and just like engaging with the crowd, taking his tie off, getting super sick, dude.
Yeah, it's like he understands. Not only is he a phenomenal player, but he knows his audience is mainly a bunch of guitar players. So like even the guitars that he chooses, they're all vintage guitars from like they're the original like 50s and 60s guitars. He's got Martins from the 40s, just super old guitars that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of them. He plays through Dumble amplifiers, which again, those are all 6-figure amplifiers. Like they are, Jesus. And it's just because of like who made them, what it is. So it's not even necessarily that he couldn't do the same exact show with a $2,000 guitar and a $2,000 amplifier. It's Joe Bonamassa. He could do it with a Squier, but it's still it's cool to be able to go out and see those instruments that would normally be locked up in a vault somewhere in some rich guy's mansion, and be able to see them actually being used. And historical guitars that have been in like, B.B. King's hands. I'm trying to think of some other artists that were just really incredible, and he was playing their actual guitar on stage. It's super cool what he does.
He's got the amp set up for like each guitar, right?
Not for each guitar. What he actually does, and this is super interesting, is so he has I think mainly like he always has 2 Fender Twins on, like old Tweed twin 80-watt things. So those are both on, and so is the Dumble. So at any point in time, 3 amplifiers could be on going into one guitar. So like, you know how Randy came here and did like that stereo stereo setup? Similar situation to that, but where like the Dumble could be like a dirtier sound, but so you'll get that kind of dirty, crunchy sound, and then you also have the Fenders, which are like crystal clean and they cut through the mix. So you have this huge guitar sound by the time you're done, and it's just so the EQ is just perfect. the way he does everything. He's the biggest nerd in guitar playing. And it's just really cool to see all the old school tricks that he does. Because, again, these are all vintage instruments. This isn't, some digital pedal that he's clicking and it does all the work for you. This is analog. Everything is raw. It's like going to the grassroots where it's like everything is real raw. And he still gets this unbelievable sound out of it.
They're using speakers that have, like, one port. I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Are you familiar with Down at the Buffalo?
No.
They're amazing, and I mean they've been playing for so long, and you look at their gear, and it's like, oh wow, look at all that vintage gear, and it's like, no, that's just used.
That's just
gear.
used
Yeah,
gear,
they bought it. They bought it when it was a lot newer at one point, and it's just been used so much, and like it's cool to see like an old speaker or an old amp where it's like literally just one cord, like that's it.
Yeah.
There's just one port for a 1/4-inch cable.
Has like a 2-prong cable on it, like it's a death machine.
Right. It's just like
this
an old
old
wooden
amp.
box,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like something so special about that. And
You were telling me that. You're like, God, you need to just have one guitar that has like the wear mark of your arm there. I'm like,
you do.
I have like 30 guitars. Like, it's not good.
Just gotta sell it.
If I cycle through them,
Gotta
it's
have
just
the one.
I don't know. I wish that I could just pick one. I have a problem. It's a real bad problem.
Yeah.
I just like so many different sounds and styles, shapes, and I just think that they're beautiful pieces of art. So it's just hard to pick one.
You gotta have that one. You gotta have your go-to.
Yeah.
You know,
I know what you mean.
Your number one. They'll call
But
it.
I'll get a new one, and I'm like, this is that one.
Yeah, I know you've
Yeah.
you've said
is
that,
that one.
so many. Oh, this is the one.
This is the
This
one.
Is the one.
This is the one. I at this point, and I know I've said that a million times. At this point, I think I've just come to the conclusion where I'm just like, there isn't a one.
No, you know that
Yeah.
there isn't
There's
a
a
one.
30.
There's
Yeah. You
It's
can mess around,
not
you get that
30, but it's
sound.
close.
You get that sound. Yeah, that's the rabbit hole of it, man. You
However,
just go
did
down
you
and
see
try to find
the
sounds.
you saw the new Les Paul, right?
I did.
It's
But
just,
are you selling that one?
all right. So this was a whole trade debacle.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Winnie. It's been nice having you here. So let me get into this. No, so I had the PRS Hollow Body, the green one. I traded that for a limited edition Silver Sky. That was like like when you turn the guitar, the color changes. So it was like purple in some angles and really blue in other angles. Beautiful, but there's like a $2,000 markup on the guitar because it's a special color.
Mhm.
Like that's the only thing special about it. Like the mechanical aspect of the guitar, the way it sounds, exactly the same as a guitar that's $2,000 cheaper. So I'm like, that's silly. I got rid of the hollow body because I didn't need to have like these really, really expensive guitars, or as many of them. I just want one really expensive guitar that's kind of like my Rolex watch that I'm gonna have forever, and I think I have that one.
So this is the
So I traded it for the Silver Sky and a Heritage, which is another guitar that looks similar to a Les Paul, and I posted them both for sale, and then some guy asked me to trade him this Les Paul for the Heritage. I'm just like, I'd look up what they're worth, and the Les Paul is definitely worth a lot more, so I'm like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, I'm not going to keep the Heritage anyway, so I just traded it, and I fell in love with this guitar. So
dude, the Hollabaugh PRS though, it's gone.
It's gone.
Oh my
It's
god.
somewhere.
I thought that was gonna be the one.
It's
man.
somewhere. I think the guitar that my dad bought is objectively a more versatile guitar.
I know.
It's a
I know
higher
you.
spec.
I know you prefer the other one. Yeah.
I really love that guitar. So, anyways, I brought that guitar home. I played it. I fucking fell in love with that damn thing, and then I just put the price for. I think originally I put like $2,500 or best offer, and then someone could offer me, $2,200 or whatever, and I'd move it. And then I played it, and then I'm like, $2,800 firm.
Right.
And I'm just like, it'll be the most expensive one ever sold. And I'm just like, I put it up there just to tell myself I put it up there, but I know it's not going to get sold.
So that's gonna
Right.
be your one. You
We'll
want
see.
to be your expensive one. I mean, like that's your pretty one.
I mean, we'll see. Like,
I feel like the SG is so pretty.
well, it's the same color.
I know. Yeah,
It's
I keep seeing you throwing up these guitars. I'm like, dude, what's this guy? I've never even seen some of these guitars before. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? But they look good. They look good, man. I'm like,
they're cool.
sick. When I saw you put up the PRS, I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I understand why. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, oh my gosh.
It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
like at a certain point, there's no reason why you need two $5,000 guitars. That's fucking stupid. That's stupid. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. Like, just pick.
You don't need two. You just need one.
You don't need one either. Don't get me wrong. Like, you don't need it. But if I want, like, no one needs a $20,000 watch. Like, no one needs that.
Right.
But I like that.
Yeah.
And I want it.
All right.
So it's like I have one, and I didn't pay for that one either. So that's the other part of it is, Daddy bought me that one. So thank you, Daddy.
Oh my god.
And I'll just use that one. I'll never sell that one, and I like that one a lot. And
Yeah.
Okay. That was
See,
my
like,
rambling story
I'm so
of
happy
guitars.
for you.
It's tough, man.
I know
like,
Winnie loved that story. That was her
Music-
favorite part
It
of
was
this
me
podcast.
like
Are, like-
pretending that I know what any of the words you said meant.
I feel like the only time you get like a bang for your buck when it comes to musical instruments is like keyboards. You know, like keyboards
Yeah.
are the only thing that's appropriate to pay like $5,000 on because it's gonna like be super durable. It's gonna have like
Yeah.
all like you see those like freaking Nord 3s that are like several $1,000 keyboards and like it makes sense.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And think about how.
Because like a drum set, a $2,000 drum set is stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, think about how like intricate pianos are.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well,
they're
like-
really unbelievable instruments.
A Fender Rhodes is an electric piano. It's not a keyboard. So it has the mechanism of a piano inside of that suitcase. That's why they're so freaking heavy.
That's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's like an original freaking the electric
keyboard, yeah.
keyboard.
Like, that's
So it
pretty
had all
interesting.
the strings in there. It has all like the mallets in there
And
to
that's
hammer
how
it out.
but it just converts it to
It's just like it's like all in a suitcase.
I'd be
kinda
so
thing.
interested.
It's like black. You've probably seen one before.
Oh, I've definitely seen one.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like how they operate. Is it like? I
It's
don't
like you
even.
open that thing up and there's like just like opening up the back of a piano but condensed.
Wow.
So you've got all the strings in there, you've got all the keys and
I'm just wondering how it like picks up, like sounds.
oh yeah. Well, it's you know, it's electric, so there's like a pickup in there and
But that's what I'm wondering. Is it just like a giant pickup that goes across all the things?
yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to nerd out for a while.
Just running right through that.
Get on the Google Images, figure it out.
You're starting a band, aren't you?
Yes.
How's that going?
Well, we've been having trouble being able to practice together.
That's always
That
the
is
tough
always
part.
the thing. Yeah.
But that's the most important part.
We knew it was going to be like hard
Yeah.
and we're working on it, but it's like every week there's like a new thing.
There's got to be a weekly practice. I mean,
So-
for at least a month.
Gotta set a day.
But I'm trying to not be like too Capricorn about it and like get obsessive and like strict because that makes me not a fun person to be around. So
No,
What's
like
a
I
Capricorn? Like what month is that?
January.
Okay.
like the thing is though is
Somebody's got to.
and I'm gonna make a comment, not in a, I don't mean this in a mean way, but I think that might be a little bit of the anxiety
Oh, for sure.
talking. Like
For
it's
sure.
not. I don't mean that in a mean way at all. I just think that you have to kind of like, and still to
Somebody
this day,
has
it's like
to.
Wednesday was our day, which is why like I've still kept like tried to keep my Wednesday somewhat open and not schedule something on a Wednesday is because it's just like this is Moses and my day.
Yeah.
Like when we were hosting the open mic consistently on Wednesday, it was just known that is my schedule. That is what happens. It's like you have to do the same thing with a band. What was Thursday was caviar.
Grits, yeah. It's like I won't budge on a Thursday. I won't
Yeah.
really do anything
Right.
on a Thursday. Like,
Yeah.
like that's always like, oh, can't really do anything Thursday night.
Yeah, it's like see, like I remember, like I'm not in caviar and grits, but I know that it's Thursday.
Yeah.
Like that's the day that I don't ask Moses to do anything
Right.
ever.
Yeah,
It's
so-
Thursday. It's always I just know that I just associate that day of it's
Yeah.
the day of death, Moses.
Right.
Just
I'm not alive.
nah.
Jamie's always like, it's Thursday. Oh, band practice tonight. I'm like,
Where is he?
"Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
See you in a couple hours. I'll be home late tonight.
But I know it's tough, and especially when you're like first getting going, it is hard to like pick that day, especially when you guys have probably just been doing your own thing for a while.
Yeah.
What is this band like? Who like?
It's a bunch of girls.
It's a bunch of girls. Who
that
are the
was-
girls? Can you tell? Can you disclose this information?
I guess. You would probably only know Kelly, who's Party Cat Music.
Yep. Well, like, don't know her,
She's
but you know.
lovely. So she's like guitar and like some vocals.
Okay.
And I'm vocals
Lead singer.
and kazoo. Yeah.
Kazoo. Cool.
We're doing like covers. We're like
Kazoo's
working
fun.
on like music that you hear on 100.5. Like
Alright.
that's the kind of stuff that I'm bringing to the table, and I'm like, I want to
That's a
sing
good
these
channel.
songs.
That's
Can
a
we do
sleeper
that?
channel right
There
there.
it is.
I love
The
it.
That's a
drive.
sleeper channel. There's 3 of them, right? It's like 98.7, 100.5.
Depending on where you are.
Yeah.
you get a better signal.
95.1,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I
Depending
love
on
that.
where I am.
It's so fun. They just play a lot of stuff that I really enjoy, so I usually keep it on that in the car.
Is that like associated with like the WHRQ?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know anything. I
There's
don't know
like
anything
phrases
about
that
the
they
radio.
throw out there, and I'm like,
Alright.
yeah, that's them. And then I have a friend who is named Scotty. She plays bass. And my friend Maggie plays drums. But I don't think either of them have really been like out and about around here music wise, especially not Maggie. She just turned 21.
All girl
She's,
band is
like-
badass.
It is
I just
badass.
gotta say that's really
like,
cool.
We
we've been
really
looking,
wanted that.
We've been
Yeah.
looking for a female bass player for a while, actually.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about that, but we had been.
Yeah. There's not like.
Finding a drummer is even harder.
Yeah.
'Cause
Like
you guys are all
well, there's
working on
female,
14
there's female
projects.
drummers, but
Yeah.
like a lot of the female, like the first female drummer that comes to mind is Ashley from Ithaca, and she's just like,
ridiculous.
yeah, just dirty.
new
Yeah. Like she's playing with Felix Free project right now, and like
Mm-hmm.
the Biggie Is Not Dead with yeah, like she's
I'm paralyzed and I
everyone
get
who had-
jealous of it. Like I shouldn't. Like she's
Yeah.
so good,
she's
and I'm not a drummer. Like she's that good where I'm just like, fuck. How can you be that proficient at one thing?
Right.
It's so good.
Everybody you would think of is already so busy, you know?
Yeah.
They're not, like, gonna do another thing, especially when it's just kind of us fucking around, you know?
yeah.
Well, I mean, you gotta tell them. Just be like, what you guys have. Like, you guys are on the same page enough to go, okay, we want an all-girl band, but you guys have to know that I can't think of one all-girl band in the area. Like, you
Yeah.
guys have a thing.
We tried to find, like, we were, like, trying to look and be like, okay, are there any? There was one at some point, I can't think of what they were called, but it was also, like, a completely different vibe, so...
And it's always close too. Like there's this really great all female band from Ithaca, Motherwort, but they have a male drummer. You know what I mean? Like it's always tough to like completely finish. You know, get every person
The
in
whole
there
set,
is
yeah.
female. So that's
Getting Maggie
dope.
was such a fluke because we're really good friends, and I like randomly it dawned on me one day as like Kelly and I were trying to find like what we wanted to do with this. I was like, oh my god, she told me once that she took drum lessons. Like I've never seen her like with a drum kit or anything, but I asked her, I was like, listen, did you like it? Do you want to play drums? And she was like, yeah.
So have you heard her play now?
Yeah.
Yeah, solid.
It's not like crazy, you know, because she hasn't been like
Right. But
Like-
she can hold it down.
yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So it's really
And
fun.
what about the bass player? Like, is she a beast or?
She's a good bass player. She's really meticulous, which is hard for me because I'm a little bit like not huge theory like
It's good to have one of those in the band.
you know.
Kenny.
Yeah, like she knows her
Kenny
shit.
is so like he will throw. Do you know Kenny? He floats around every now and
This song doesn't have a
see
chorus.
people-
You guys need to.
If
you guys need to get back to me.
if you came, if you
Gonna
came
say-
to
Get a chorus in this song and then we can talk.
yeah, right. if you came to open mic, I think you'd probably recognize him. He's usually there, but he's like
Pretty quiet.
I feel like I can picture who you're talking about.
He's quiet, and it's always really fun playing with him because I always feel like I leave it a little bit better than I was. And just or maybe thinking about things in a different way that I might not have thought about it. And
He'll push your brain.
He is, and we have such different styles of playing, but I think that's we both like that when we play together because
Yeah.
we're like trying to make this thing happen, and it's so different. But anyways, I just always feel like I'm a better player. He's very structured.
Oh yeah,
It's very structured.
and he's great with arranging music.
Very.
Yeah.
So he does it right on the spot, and he'll like just come up with these arrangements. Chris James is good like that too, where he's already got this arrangement in his head, and we just kind of messing around working it out.
You see, the band thing for me, I think, is just such a huge. Everything about it is different than what I do.
Yeah.
You
What's
know?
the goal with the band, other than like having this premier female band?
I mean, at the moment, it's just the goal is to be able to play songs outside of like Maggie's house.
So, do we have a name?
Sweet Spot.
Ooh.
That's right.
God. Get out. What are you doing? Now, we're booking it now. I'm calling every venue in this area. I have an all-girl band called Sweet Spot that can play tomorrow.
Well, not tomorrow.
Nope, tomorrow.
But, I'm hoping that we get there.
You guys
so
have
fun.
such a good
And
thing.
do nobody else has any other musical engagements other than you and Kelly, right?
Right, at the moment.
So everybody's just
Scotty does like her own stuff like at home,
so
but
it's
like
now's the
different,
time, and like honestly, if to me, if everybody's like bringing in those ideas with their original music, and everybody seems to be a songwriter other than Maggie. I mean, like that's what you do. You play those original songs, and you structure them together, and you just get in there and you work.
I mean, I think you would enjoy our arrangement of Closing Time featuring the kazoo.
That song came on the other day, and like
Just ignored that part.
No, I think you should hop.
That song
I'm
came
gonna hop
on-
on the accordion over here. We're gonna rip that place apart.
Oh my
dude, that
gosh.
song came on the other day, and I was just like, I had to give
So
myself
good.
a pat on the back. I was like, it's been a while since I've heard this song at a bar. Like that used to be a whole thing. I bet that's a great cover. But like the Caviar and Grits story, that I like to mention is that we formed in 2019. We practiced for about 2.5 months before we played our first show.
Mm-hmm.
After the first show, which went well, it was a short show. Literally, the pandemic started.
Oh,
so
yeah.
then we didn't play any shows. So we still got together every week and just practice. So then by the time we were able to book a show in 2021, which was like a year later, we sounded freaking tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like just getting together, and like there's always just like, we need to book a band and we need to play a show. That's always the mindset. But there's none of that. Let's get this together. Let's get it tight. Let's make it sound good so when we do play a show, it's gonna be freaking dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you all do right now, is in the middle of trying to have a consistent practice, just get a hang in at least once a week, a group call, even if it's 30 minutes, you know what I mean, and just talk about ideas and what the goal is.
That might be a good starting place, even just be like, hey, Tuesdays we're gonna have a 30-minute phone call.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then that starts there, and that way you guys are already scheduling at least 30 minutes, and then as soon as you guys are ready to start practicing, okay, we need an hour and a half, 2
Right.
hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, what songs do we want to work on, right?
Yeah.
What songs do we want to learn, right? What are our goals, and then that way you could kind of create your vision board as a band together. Obviously, that seems like so like structured and blah blah blah, but that's how you have the most success, even if the eventual goal is for everybody to just part their ways and
Right.
do whatever they do.
I don't think I've ever put these pieces together, but you said that was like during the pandemic that you guys really started picking up the pace and started becoming structured and stuff like that with Caviar, correct?
Like in a way, like it kind of forced us to, because there wasn't like a gig to play. So it was just like practice and maybe like start working on like recording.
Well, wasn't Michaela doing that Led Zeppelin thing with Brian?
Right before the pandemic, yeah.
So what I guess I never put together is, I mean, that was similar to right around the time that Junkyard Heights started doing a bunch more stuff. And then very, very shortly after that was when Brian got a hold of me to play.
Yep.
So this was like all happening around like the exact same time.
Right.
So Michaela's just like, I am all in on caviar and grits right now, and we're just gonna focus on that and structure. So like by that happening, got me probably into Junkyard Heights
Right.
because I was needed. Because Brian had not had that project with Michaela at a certain point because she probably was just focusing all her energy on caviar, which brought me into that. It's weird how the world works like that.
Right.
That's pretty neat.
And Junkyard Hearts was like the reincarnated Wheelhouse in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Wheelhouse.
I mean, the Wheelhouse didn't really have all that dirt rock kind of, did it?
No, it was acoustic. It was an acoustic trio with Kevin Ham, Brian, and Craig Benedum. Or Brian Swan, Craig Benedum. They're not brothers. Sounded like they were brothers when I said that. But, or married, who knows? So it was just those three, and then they started writing music with Kevin that was a little bit more driven, like kind of recording these tunes that you would call dirt rock. Like it was just driven electric guitar stuff, and all these tracks had like 2 guitar tracks on them, so you needed 2 guitars to play a lot of these songs live, and then that's why I ended up getting the call for that. And started getting going on all that stuff. Nice. But without Michaela saying "fuck that Led Zeppelin project," I would have done none of that. So thank you, Michaela.
Rehearsal, she has that high range.
Yeah,
Robert Plant.
I think I've heard her only once do a Led Zeppelin, and I think it was. Would she have done that at a Caviar show, by any chance?
No, I can't.
Like a long time ago. You don't think so? Maybe she did an open mic.
She used to play in a cover band. It could have been in an open mic. I don't
swear
recall
to
ever
God,
hearing
I've
her
heard
do
her.
Zeppelin.
I swear to God, I don't know why I
She might have.
have this weird memory. Anyways,
She used to play in this cover band. That's how I met Michaela. It was like 2016, deep in the debauchery days, like just a straight knucklehead. And she was playing with this cover band at Uncle Tony's. And are you from here? Are you from this area originally?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know Uncle Tony's, right? Remember Uncle Tony's on State Street?
I'm in my mind, kind of.
Okay.
The thing about me being from around here is the around part.
Okay.
So I grew up like on a hill by the airport.
Ah, gotcha.
you know where Muckles is?
Yeah.
Right in the corner. It's like three
down
three or so buildings down.
Word. Okay.
It's right there.
Saw her playing there. She wasn't playing any guitar though. She was just singing with this cover band. They had a drummer, bass player, guitars. And I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like her voice just is insane. I mean, obviously she's better now than she was then, but like it was just ridiculous. And I remember like just being like super drunk, and I remember telling her just like, I know you got your situation here and you got this band. However, if you ever find yourself needing a drummer, like hit me up. And sure enough, she hit me up like probably a year or so later, year and a half later.
He's got to be sober by now.
Yeah, he's got to be sober right now.
Only took a little while.
Yeah, probably took a bit. And I was pretty sober then, at least. And I was just like, yeah, let's do it. And it was a bad time. Just she also wasn't playing guitar, so like one of the first times Michaela and I ever played together, it was just the two of us, and it was her singing and me playing drums, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't
that's
just have
silly.
drums and
That's
vocals.
Yeah.
21 Pilots.
Right. So we were just like, this isn't really working, and we don't really know anybody because we weren't like out on the scene or anything. So we're just like, well, And like a year later, she reached out. She was like, "Hey, I found some people." You know what I mean?
Nice.
Let's jam. And that's kind of like how we got together and how I started playing with her. But it is a lot of times like that randomness, of it, where it's like you run into musicians here and there. Maggie told you they took a drum lesson once, like that's how it works. Like, and that was like Michaela didn't really know any other drummers, but she remembers the drunk dude that came up to her and was like, "Hey, I play drums." Like I have no way to verify that at all.
Yeah.
I have like no way to like say, yeah, I could like, anybody can go, "Oh, I play the drums." But then to do it and a big thing for me that I feel like I've been able to bring to bands is like I'm not this like technical player. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like Ashley that we were talking about earlier, or like I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Howard. You know, like they're just very technical, precise. They're just so incredible. Like I call when I talk about them, I'm like, those are specialists, right? They are like, they have specialized the craft of drumming, and they continue to just get better and better. For me, I credit a lot of it to just like work ethic, right? Like just be prepared, shut the fuck up, and play. You know what I mean? And listen, right? Like that's my mindset, you know, and that's what I feel like I've always been able to. That's been my success in musical projects, you know, is like knowing when to take the back seat, you know, when to listen, and how do I make everybody else sound better versus how do I make myself sound better. And you know, and it sounds like duh, that's what you're supposed to do, but like sadly that's not the case. And there is like still, especially when you hear a band that hasn't practiced together or hasn't vibed with each other, there's still a lot of like,
It's clunky.
it's clunky. It's like they call it like at the gym they refer to it as ego lifting.
Yeah.
You know, like lift the whole thing of plates like with terrible form.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it could sometimes be with these bands where everybody's like, they sound super dirty. Everybody's obviously a great player, but it doesn't
mesh.
It doesn't mesh.
They're all playing their own show.
Everybody's hanging out playing their own show.
Yeah.
Everybody's in their own little world with the headphones
They have
in.
their they got their ego. It's just ego. But when you play together so much and you like start actually vibing, that ego turns into one ego, and then it's just.
And then everybody just sounds like phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's playing off of each other, and the space is created. And I mean, some of the best shows that I've played are after maybe a really bad show. But just because we were together the night before, or we hung out, or we had a rehearsal, and this is, you know, I play with two bands pretty regularly right now, so it's having that connection and that energy with both of those bands.
Yeah, I mean, even just being next to your band, like just talking and shooting the shit is super helpful. Super helpful. Yeah, it's weird how that works, huh?
Yeah, you know, and some people will say like the factor of chill over skill. Right? Sure.
I have not heard that.
Yeah, sure. Somebody can be like the best drummer in the world, but if they're like shitty vibes and they're like dumping on all the ideas and they're not really like a fun hang, like that's not better than like someone that maybe isn't the best drummer but is like chill and like, you know, hey, let's talk about some ideas. Let's, you know. And that could be any musician in a
Even
group.
just relaxing. I mean, just the relaxing aspect of having someone who's chill in the band instead of being like tense or anything like that. Like I think I'm a pretty good guitar player, but as soon as I get into Guitar Center, I fucking forget everything I know because it's just like I'm not chill, like I'm not relaxed, like I'm not.
Now you have the chill factor.
I hope.
Yeah, you have the chill factor, or no, you definitely have the chill.
I think I'm just dumb and I don't know anything, so I'm just like,
whatever. You're just like a chill guy, you know what I mean? Like you're not like. You're not gonna come in and like, oh, you know what? That's actually wrong. You shouldn't be doing it like this, or like do it like this, or just hard to talk to, kind of like just talking about like random bullshit, or just
tell me more good things about me.
Getting super hammered, you know. I'm gonna save that for the Patreon.
Oh,
yeah, you gotta save.
Better watch it. $5. $5, everyone. Cheap whore.
Yeah, sorry about that. But no, I think we're gonna start wrapping it up here. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about or plug? Anything upcoming? Any shows? I know you kind of had like a big run of shows. Like,
yeah,
over
I'm
the
kind of
last
on
few
a
weeks.
pause. I like booked a lot of stuff really quickly, like one after another.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Like, how was that process? Because you went from like no shows to, would you end up playing like 10 to 20 shows by the end of the year?
I think it was, I don't know, maybe like 10.
A good dozen.
But
Baker's
it's
dozen.
still, it was a lot because they all happened kind of at the same time.
Love that.
So especially September, it was like one a week.
Nice.
And you know, that with like practicing, making sure I actually know what the hell's going on, and trying to like, okay.
So how'd you manage to get 10 of them at least?
I love email. I cold emailed everyone I could think of And that got a few out. And then talking to people who've played other places, I literally DM'd Moses
Oh, that's right. Yep.
for that one at Irish Kevin's. I was like, hey,
It's always the best
are
way
you
to
the
get a
right
hold of us,
person to
guys.
talk to? And he was like, not really, but I can do it.
Oh yeah, you were like, did you hear you talk to you about booking at Irish Kevin's? And I was like, not officially. Like, I don't really do the Saturday or Friday shows that they have there, but we can make something happen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like,
What I had in mind was
that
the open
yeah.
mic, because
Oh,
that
perfect.
brings people in.
It does. It does. It's a good night.
Yeah. Like, everyone will show up and see at least a little bit of who's on, you know, before they do their little open mic bit, which is so nice.
Nobody wants to go first at open mic. So when you have
Yeah.
like a songwriter do an hour set, it like kind of helps nobody have to be the first.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they can be also a little bit salty though, because they're like, damn, they had like a whole set prepared and it was like really good. They had time to like get everything together, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, but like, you know what the vibe is if you're going to an open mic.
yeah, you would think that, but like, I don't know. Sometimes there's
That's
people
how
are
I
just
feel.
like,
But I'm
oh,
also,
It's,
like,
it's hard.
too
There's
scared
simply not
and, like,
enough
whatever.
time in the night. Like we have
No.
so many friends that are just they're so talented too. And you know we wish that we could give everyone a half an hour on stage because there's so many musicians that would just be able to go up there and jam for a half an hour easy.
Yeah.
But you know it's tough. It's weird to say, like, you get 15 minutes, which just doesn't sound like all that long
No.
on stage. It's like that's a tight. You have no time. You got to set up, get everything ready to go, maybe play 3 songs if you can, and then get everything off. And like 15 minutes is really not that much time at all. So it's tough. And you get how many of those? 8? We get 8 15-minute slots.
you got to think about it. You know, 15-minute slot is 4 15-minute performances in an hour, which it's never like that because there's a turnover. 5 minutes.
There's
Yeah.
no
5
matter
minutes there.
no matter what.
So yeah, by like 3 hours of open mic, yeah, there's like 8 performers. You know, depending on the night.
That's why it's fun to like try to mix people in. So like if you come and you're a drummer and you know the person who was performing maybe wasn't expecting to have a drummer there, it's like nice to give them a little quick nudge. You'd be like, hey, would you mind having a drummer? And then you get another musician on stage. So it's trying to cycle things in like that. I feel like now everyone understands that and they do it themselves. Like before we had to give a couple elbows.
We had to be a little like
now
you know,
everyone's just
and it's the same thing with the band thing. You've got to like at some point you have to have a little bit of the structure, you know, and like some
we
people
didn't want to be like that. We fought that hard.
You know, it's just it's a sacrifice we make so that more people have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, we're willing to make that sacrifice, and you know,
I feel like we learned that after like maybe 2 or 3 of them, where it was almost. It's not that people were getting like mad, but you could definitely tell that they were bummed out they didn't get a chance to go up, and it was because we were so loose with what we were doing. Like if we were vibing, if the music sounded good and stuff like that, we just kind of let it run.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, we're just like, oh wait, well, having this event, it's like not about us, and we can't do like there's so many people that are involved in this now and like are taking the time out of their day to come out here and play music. We need to make sure that we get them up there for some time. Like you have a responsibility at that point.
Yeah, that definitely kicked in a little bit later for us, but once it did, it was like it makes it so much easier. And typically now people are like super respectful. Hey, is it cool if I put my stuff here? Is it okay if I start setting up? It's like, yes, please do. Got to shout out Catherine because Catherine is like. She is like the ideal person that you want to play at your open mic. Like, because I always tell people before, like, hey, this is their last song. And, like, to some people, that's like, oh, that means I can go smoke or go to the bathroom or get another drink or, like, fuck off, right? Catherine, that's like, no, I'm going to go get my guitar. I'm going to make sure it's tuned. And I'm going to be standing right over there so that when you say my name, I'm going to be right behind you. Like, that's what I want. I want to be able to take the quarter-inch cable out of one guitar and swiftly put it into the next one and get dialed in. While you sing your first song, we'll adjust the levels and get going. And that way you can have like an actual thorough, efficient open mic. You know,
you don't have any dead air.
Yeah.
Don't like that air.
That kills a room. It kills when you get dead air there. It absolutely kills it. Even putting like some music on, still
the volume's not right. Yeah,
the volume's not right. It really kills the whole thing. So, when you're getting ready to perform, it's like that's kind of a big part of it. Is doing it. Otherwise, the performance isn't going to be as good. You're setting yourself up for failure if you don't immediately get up there.
Yeah,
right. It's like get up there while you have them. Everybody's looking right now.
Don't give them a chance to get a drink.
Exactly.
Right.
Get up there. And like, you know, don't want to be a stickler, don't want to tell somebody how to do their performance, but it's like, hey, it's your 15 minutes.
We also want them to do good, though. Like,
exactly.
We're trying to give them the tools to do as good as they possibly can and perform as good as they possibly can. Yeah.
Facts. All right, y'all. Well, this was a great time.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to social medias and stuff like that? Website, anything you got?
Facebook.com/Key of Winnie, Instagram key_of_Winnie. Go on to Muckles U, find the Winnie rally, buy my stuff. Please and thank you. I have stickers. They're really cute. I put one on my car.
Do you have it in your bio anywhere? Is there an easy way to get to that?
Like,
there are links. Yeah, I have like some other version of a link tree in my Instagram, and I think it's on my Facebook.
All right, perfect. I'll make sure I throw the link tree thing right in the so you'll be able to find all that.
Yeah, it's a bio site. That's what it's called.
Bio site.
So go to that. All of my stuff is there. There are links to listen, at least on the major platforms, and yeah, it's all there.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Seriously, love it. And yeah, I mean, if you're out there and you're starting up a band, you know, just put the work in. And you had a great point about how you slid into the DMs. Slide into the DMs if y'all are interested in like linking up with Liam and I, doing anything up here like podcast related, performance, showcase at Irish Kevin's. Hit us up. You know, that's what we want. We want to like be able to communicate and collaborate with as many musicians as possible, and trying to get a different flow of people up here too. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for coming by, and we're looking forward to your performance because it's going to be a little bit different.
Binghamton, New York now.
Yes.
List of Binghamton artists on Spotify. Check it out.
Grits
Thank you,
Raven.
Raven.
There yet. Hopefully Raven adds them on there soon. Saw Kid Best.
Oh, yeah. What's up with that,
Tune.
Raven?
Saw Kid Best tune, though, so, you know, sweet. All right. Peace.
Take care.